Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for March 23rd, 2017. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss, and here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. A couple of days ago, we had a big sell-off here where price pushed through the 2354s and dropped all the way down into about 2332. The previous session here, I mentioned that after a major sell-off day, you usually see a day of digestion. Where price basically goes sideways and holds, maybe retrades a little bit into the range. And we mentioned that anything above 42 yesterday could open up a move back up toward 50 and perhaps as high as 54s. We didn't quite get into 54 here, but 54 is that prior support. So this is going to be interesting here. Obviously, we have a lower high for the first time in a while here in the ES. We have lower lows. We've had two multi-day pullbacks here just in the last couple of weeks. So if price cannot get above 54s here, this is going to be very important because we could see more weakness across the range into the 100% expansion target, which is 2307. Dropping price into that LVN would be very important and would offer perhaps a very solid buying opportunity on a longer term time frame for a shot at retesting these highs at 2401 and perhaps going through those highs. So still, the market remains in a very bullish price structure, and despite this pullback here, still offers opportunities for a buying attempt for new highs. So even though we're getting lower, we perhaps have a little bit more downside. If price cannot get back above 54s, this right here would be an opportunity to shoot for 2307. Once we do get down here, maybe a better opportunity to look for a longer term buy opportunity. So something to look forward to here on a higher time frame basis. Looking at the intraday time frame right now, mostly trading in a range here after the previous session's sideways to up session. Here's the 42s we talked about yesterday. At one point, we finally got a break through it, but then couldn't really hold and eventually closed right at it, 42 quarter. Right now, mostly trading above it today. And again, kind of quiet, higher highs, higher lows. A little bit of an uptrending channel here. Above 2350 opens up a move into 2354, and that's going to be the big pivot to watch up here. So any push into this zone could be a first test fade back toward about 46.5 as kind of an intraday day trade or scalp. And then from there, it could offer more weakness if this swing level really holds. So something to watch out for on an intraday basis for the ES. Here's CL. CL perhaps offers the best opportunity of some of these indexes we're covering right at the moment because yesterday we hit and tested the 4709 key pivot. So that's the previous week's low right here. That level right there, we had our tail. That was 4709. And as we came into it yesterday, intraday, heading into the EIA report, what we were looking for was how was price going to respond once it hits 4709 and price is below it. You can see here price hit 4701, 8 ticks below it, and immediately started to see a rejection of those prices and a rally on an intraday basis. I mentioned at that moment that if this is the true rejection here, we're likely going to see price develop support off of 4730 and then start to work higher. And that could eventually lead to a retest of this high here at about 4970, and perhaps a push and a completion of this move into that midpoint at 5106. So this is very important here. The midpoint is going to be very important at about 4760. We'll see how price responds. Right now, rejecting prices above the previous high, which means we could come back toward the midpoint of the range, 4767. And at that point, you really want to see bulls come in to defend. So let's take a look here at the intraday. And this is what we talked about the previous session, a big time rejection. Even if we go down to the 233, very nice down here. So this is the point right here where price drops down into that area. Right. There we go. So here's where price drops down into 4709, right there. We get a push to 4701 and immediately price closes back above on the same bar. Here's the midpoint of that rejection bar, tested twice on a midpoint retest, and then price squeezes through this previous high and makes it support. And we followed that live in the trading room, and I mentioned this is a great rejection here that could lead to a swing reversal back toward 50, let alone an intraday scalp and day trade. And then the next move on a swing basis was for price to defend the 47.30s on a pullback, and that's where it happened. Absorption occurred at that zone, and now we're marking higher. So for the most part, this thing appears to continue to be very, very bullish. You can see what we've done since then. The idea is if this is a major rejection, you stair step higher with higher lows, and you just continue to mark higher. So right now, resistance at 48.5. Any pullback below, 48.16, 48.10 here could offer an opportunity for bulls to defend and run the stops through 48.5 and into 49 and beyond. So right now, this thing continues to be bullish. Remember, 48.42 was the major area of support. Price broke through it and dropped to that 47.01. We're back to it already. So if we squeeze above it, we go to 48.80, 49.07, and back above in the 49.26. So we have much more upside here, potentially in crude oil on a day basis, and also looking out over the next several days. All right, let's take a look at the NQ. Here's the NQ. Looking at the higher time frame chart, what I mentioned before was we had a big time sell-off, and that sell-off, while pretty big, is the biggest one-day pullback of the day. Of the year so far. That offers an opportunity for bulls typically to come in and defend. But what I told my traders yesterday is this is where we're going to know if this is just a bounce within an uptrend or if this thing is going to see more lows. And it's going to be right here upon testing 5,400 to 5,395 from below. So right now we're pushing a little bit higher. 53.6175 is the key level today. That's support. We could see a push into 53.95 to 54, and once it does, bears are going to look to come in and reject that price, keep these late buyers trapped, and reject this price for a shot at new lows. If that's the case, we could see another round of weakness into, say, 52.50 and perhaps even as low as 5,200 down here. Very similar to the ES. Should that move materialize, it would still be a fantastic long-term buying opportunity for another round of strength. So right now, could see a little bit of sideways to up action. Should we see it retest of 53.95 to 54 from below, you could become a bear at that point, or look to see if bears come in at that point. And if so, you could come in and also come in behind them, or if they fail to get paid, another round of strength is coming right away. So something to look forward to on a swing basis for the NQ. Looking at the intraday time frame, right now, you can see again a nice little recovery from the lows yesterday. What we were looking for was this level right here. I mentioned that prices were below the previous session's close, and pushing above it could move this thing back up. And so far, that's exactly what's happened. Nice uptrending structure on this channel so far. So overall, look for this thing to continue to push higher. We have this key level here, 61, 61.75, so price coming into this zone. Bulls are trying to defend for a push into 5,400. Should we see 5,400 again, watch for bears to look to enter at that zone. All right, here's GC. GC on a higher time frame right now shows that price has pushed higher a great deal. And it came upon these bears down here defending, defending, and defending for 3 days running, and then the stops came out above 12.05. That opened up a move quickly to 12.32. And then I mentioned here that we're likely to chop, chop, chop until I noticed here that bears had gotten tracked below the previous low and were rejecting in an uptrend. That's when I mentioned the next push is to 48 to 50. And that's where we are right now. We're trading around 48 and 50 at the moment. But again, in an uptrending market, this type of 2-day hold after a rally is good for an additional strength. So this gold trade could continue going higher. A retest into 12.40 could offer a buying opportunity up. 12.35 offers an opportunity to defend as well. So pullbacks are still going to be defended for a continuation into 63 to 64.9. So look for that. Now on a higher time frame basis, it's beginning to look like price can not only push to the 63, but perhaps through it and into 1300 to 1305. So that's something that we'll be looking for down the road, because here's the election day high, and we sold off since then. Here's the rejection, and we've slowly walked back, but we have not fully recovered that loss here. So overall, we could be looking at a continuation at some point into 1300 to 1306. But short term, looking for a push into 63s. All right, looking at the intraday time frame for gold. To wrap this up, you'll see that price is holding currently at the previous session's low. Offered, 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 offered. Yet we have higher lows coming into that level. That typically implies at some point we could get a squeeze and a retest here of 1251.5. So look for a potential squeeze above the previous session's close. We do have clear LVN here at 1244 and into 1240. So even if price were to drop into this zone below these lows, it could still be an opportunity for bulls to trap and look to defend. And that's also the same goes for the 1235s where the squeeze initially began. Any pullback to that zone offers a fantastic swing buying opportunity. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this plays out heading into the rest of the session. Good luck and trade well.